Good evening, Social Work 290. My name is Andrew Warden, and this is my video post on the TED Talks, Can Art Amend History? Unfortunately, art or anything for that matter cannot amend, adjust, revise, or alter physical history, period. It's just something that is impossible. You cannot undo an action, a comment, or an event, and thankfully so, otherwise how would we hold people accountable for their actions in the past if this wasn't the case? I would like to think that both the moral and the immoral historic events of this country can aid the generations of now and of the future in formulating more ethical and honourable decisions on behalf of all the people of our society. Historic art can aid us in doing so, as shown by Titus Kaphar in his TED Talks video, Can Art Amend History? What art can accomplish is education. Education on the true, wicked, depraved, and unethical events that we have held back generations and generations of hard-working residents and citizens of this country. I think that Titus Kaphar is stating that some of the most important and vital sections of historic art are usually unnoticed or overlooked. This becomes apparent as he focuses on the African American in the picture in which he is displayed on stage. The African American is illustrated as less inferior through smaller stature, and his clothes are a lot less overstated as to the white people. Titus Kaphar's comment regarding the simplicity of retrieving information about the white individuals in the picture, and even what they are wearing, including the fabric and the style of the dress, was shocking in comparison of how difficult it was to retrieve information about the African American, including even the name of the African American. This piece of art was so much more than the portrait. It's a brutal history lesson on the racial hostility, deprivation, and the hate of which African Americans have suffered. Moving on to the Confederate statues, they are fragments of American history, whether we support them or not. They resemble the past, a not so glamorous past, but an earlier time in which important events happened that shaped America as a land of the free for some and a land of oppression for many others. From my personal observation, I've formed an individual opinion that we should keep the statues, not destroy them. Saying that, I think the way they have been assembled and the way they are currently displayed is wrong. To some, the statue is iconic. To others, they retell an agonizing story of a darker time in American history. I don't think the statues deserve to sit elevated and proud, arrogantly looking down upon those who don't want to be reminded of that time in America. It's as if the statues compose a psychologically superior threat to those below it. The best thing to do would be to move the statues to a museum, and that way America has its history, but murder, violence, and oppression isn't being celebrated. Finally, the observant question by Titus Kaphar's son, "Why do those men have to walk?" is a model of how everybody should question what doesn't look or feel right, both now and in history. I think the question doesn't just reside around the subject of race. Why is something that we should be asking when we see somebody going without? Why is that person being segregated? Why is that woman's salary less than her male colleague? Why is that man homeless? Or it could be as simple as asking, why is that person distressed? The final point was that the men had to walk because of their skin colour, which is obviously wrong. And that can't be changed now. But it can be pointed out and taught to our inquisitive youth. And it can also be taught to the more stubborn and I'd say less educated people of our society that are maybe more stuck in their ways. I think it's the least we could do. Thank you very much.